voice. We are Rotary. We are people of action. And together, we turn great ideas into reality by accessing our networks, our experience, and the best of ourselves to make a difference. Around the world, Rotary brings leaders together to build new friendships and to solve problems. Like in Austria, where generations work side by side to build sustainable housing and community centers. In India, volunteers run a mobile blood bank to help provide a steady blood supply for their local community. And in Taiwan, people are working hard to get vulnerable citizens the support and services they need. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org/action.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
College basketball lives here. WGSX Lynn, WPLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions, pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
it is going to be an honor to have Coach Mary Rooney Scoville on the line with us. 5:20. She's going to be calling in, and we'll talk about her Hall of Fame induction, which will be taking place up there in Tennessee, I believe, on April 27th. So she'll be joining us at 5:20, and then we're going to wrap it up with a segment that happened on the Inside Drive today, the second segment of the day with Lauren Gill from the Humane Society of Bay County. We recorded that segment, and I got some permission from the coach, Coach Ryan Mulvey, and he's going to let us play that for the final segment. I'm going to get over there to Frank Nelson for the All-Star games going on tonight. Coach Mulvey was nominated as the head coach for the blue team, and so with that, as his assistant, as his defensive coordinator, I will be doing whatever I can to help the squad tonight, which is a lot of encouraging, man. And I really do enjoy the assistant side of things compared to trying to pretend to run the whole show. And I'm saying that from my from my side.
It is way more, relaxing. It is. You don't have to stress about dealing with parents. You don't have to stress about dealing with the league. You just have to go out and deal with the kiddos.
Yeah, man, that's a good point. That's what I'm saying. I could just be the encourager, and the tough decisions come down to the head coach. And I don't really know what it's like at all to be a head coach, but running the basketball squad over there at First Baptist Church Basketball League, I guess you would call me the head coach over there. And it's all the decisions come down to you, and all the playing time. Like, see, if I'm not playing a kid enough, then Coach Mulvey can come up to me and be like, hey, you need to do this. You know what I mean? And the blame, though, is not really going to roll down on me. It's going to end up going on the head coach at that point. But
it's because everybody sees the man. He's up front, he's taking the shots, but he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. Coach Mulvey going to be taking the sidelines tonight. Frank Nelson, man, y'all want to watch some fun football. The All-Star games are tonight. 5:45 is when it's going to get started. Then 6:45 is when our game is for the 4th and 5th graders, and at 7:45 for the 6th through the 8th graders. Get out there and support Coach Mulvey tonight, and the kids, though, more importantly, for the kids. It's going to be a great time. Cannot wait for that. All right, high school basketball, girls' side of things. Last night, Rutherford took down Taylor 69-19. I don't know if this next score, someone needs to confirm this for me. Because when I saw this, the first thing, I'll go into what the first thing I thought after I read the score out. So last night, Pensacola beat Bay, according to Max Preps here. So if anyone knows if this is the legit score, please let me know on this, or at least correct me if I'm wrong. 47 Pensacola, 3 Bay. Now, why that number 3 stands out to me, as we'll get to here in just a few short moments, but last night in the Chipola and Gulf Coast ladies basketball team, Gulf Coast finished the game, and this game went to overtime with 3 ladies on the floor.
Yeah, I've seen it happen a handful of times in my life where everybody fouls out, is sick, something, and I do believe basketball rules state you have to be able to at least put 2 on the court in order to keep on playing.
Yeah.
I played a game in middle school when I was still in middle school. Other team had flu or something, and we're going, still got to play the game, and they had like 5 dudes to start the game.
Yeah.
And then within the first 6 minutes of the game, another 2 dudes foul out. So they literally our whole squad against their 3 dudes, whole game.
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit more details there when we get to that score, but that was the first thing I thought of. 3 points, 3 people. Holy cow. Mariana falling to Rocky Bayou just by 4 points, 48-44. Bluntstown takes down Liberty by 24, 54-30. South Walton beats West Florida 59-53. Central edges out a win over Paxton 51-47, and a 4-point result for Jay as well. They beat Freeport 61-57. So that Chipola Gulf Coast score last night in overtime, the final 86-80. So Ozzy Mamadou actually ended up hurting her knee, so she had to exit the game early. I believe that was early in the second half. We'll find out more when we get Coach Kuhn on the horn with us tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, so Ozzy Mamadou got hurt. 5 girls fouled out, and they were left with 3, but still pushed the game to overtime. I don't know how much time was remaining in the fourth quarter and in the second half in general when they came down to, or when they ended up with just 3 players. But to take Chipola to the brink like that, to push them to overtime, it reminds me of Alabama, Minnesota, just a few years ago. 2017, I say a few years ago, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, Alabama was playing Minnesota. This was during the Avery Johnson tenure. And a bunch of the guys fouled out. You ended up with three men playing, and they ended up losing like 85 to 81, somewhere around that. And at the time, Minnesota was ranked number 14. So very impressive stuff. Now, Gulf Coast came into this game as the number 1 team in the land. It would be hard pressed for me to put anyone above them when they push. I know it's a loss, but there's got to be a pretty big asterisk beside that loss, especially going to OT.
Yeah, it's a loss with missing all your team.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we didn't have anybody, but we were close.
But we were close. But you know what they say, close but no cigar. Pensacola jumped all over Tallahassee last night in women's college JUCO basketball. They win 107-45. And in men's JUCO basketball, I believe this is their first loss on the road in conference play. Chipola takes down Gulf Coast on the men's side of things, 68-66, and Pensacola gets a 3-point win, 76-73 over Tallahassee. Yesterday was signing day. We named off some of the young men who were signed, and that's thanks to Sam Granville for sending over the information. And we'll go over those names again because this is an important part in these young athletes' lives and moving on to the next level. And so we want to congratulate them. From Arnold, we've got 2 athletes, Ben Parsons and Hunter Griffin. Ben is going to the University of Tampa for swimming, and Hunter Griffin is headed to the University of Mobile to play a little bit of soccer. And that's a friend of the shows, if you will, Danny Griffin. That's his son, Hunter, and a great job there to move on to the University of Mobile, and they still got some soccer left to play here in his senior year. Out of Chipley, it's going to be Austin Gainey, who plays football. He's going to be headed to North Greenville University, so congratulations to him. Out of Cottondale, Jaya Gardner, he'll be playing. He's going to be heading over here to Pensacola to the University of West Florida. He's going to be in Argo to play some football, so congratulations to Mr. Gardner. Out of Mosley, Tyler Garcia is going to Huntington College to play tennis. Marley Middlebrooks is heading to Flagler to play volleyball. Jordan Martinez heading to Gulf Coast, he's staying right here in his backyard, going to be playing baseball for Gulf Coast. And then Blake Bowen and Jared Kavaris are going to be headed to Coastal Alabama together to play some baseball. Out of Rutherford, Jakari Brown headed to St. Thomas University. He'll be playing football. Jaden Richardson also playing football. He's going to Southeastern University. And then Cedric Andrews playing football as well. He's going to Eastern Kentucky. I'm sure you're excited about that, James. I
got nothing.
You got nothing. Southwall and Hannah Herrick is going to Kaiser University to play volleyball. Ella Trout is headed to the University of Georgia to play softball. Macy Chambers and Katie Bulware are headed to Southern Union, and Ava Dalton, actually. All 3 of those headed to Southern Union to play soccer, so that Southern Union soccer team's about to get a little bit stronger, at least in the chemistry department. Brooklyn Nemetz is headed to Mars Hill to play lacrosse. Mars Hill, never heard of that before. That is awesome, and it's awesome that we have people out of this area headed to play lacrosse. Jaden Robinson's going to Kennesaw State. He'll be playing football. Jake Pippin is headed to Valdosta State. He'll also be playing football. Garrett Shackley headed to Lees McRae to play lacrosse. And then Hunter Barber is going to Central Alabama to play baseball. So congratulations to all of those young athletes on their way to the next level of athletics.
Wish them the best of luck.
Absolutely. Today's high school basketball scoreboard, and these are all going to be playoff games. I'm pretty sure. Franklin County headed to Port St. Joe. Franklin County with a record of 15-11. Port St. Joe 12-12. That game tips tonight at 5:30. Rocky Bayou Christian is 12-11. They travel to the number 1 overall seed Marianna, who is 23-2, and that game tips also at 5:30. Sneeds is 17-8. They're traveling to Cottondale, who is 17-6. That game tips tonight at 6 p.m. Niceville is 15-11. They're traveling to Milton, who is 18-6, and they will tip tonight at 6 p.m. Bay High 13-12, traveling to number 3 South Walton, who is 16-8. That game tips tonight at 7 p.m. They've played 3 times this season. South Walton has won all 3, so this is a revenge game for the Bay High Tornadoes. Paxton is hosting Freeport tonight. Paxton with a record of 18-5. Freeport comes in with a record of 9-14. That game tips at 7 p.m. West Florida traveling to 20-5 Walton. That game tips tonight at 7 p.m. Ponce de Leon is 14-10. Bethlehem is 17-4. Bethlehem hosting at 7:30. Chipley is 15-11. They're traveling to Poplar Springs, who is 5-19. And there's no time for that tip. Graceville traveling to Bozeman tonight. No time for that tip. Mosley is traveling to Buchholz. Now, this is a revenge game for Mosley football in a sense, because Buchholz forced Mosley to exit in the playoffs in high school football this year. So Mosley and the basketball team, at least Raiden Bruins is going to be looking for some revenge in that game. And then Rutherford will be hosting Gadsden County tonight. So congratulations to all of them and their playoff games tonight. Good luck to them as well. And also in cheerleading in the Class 1A large number non-tumbling division, Bozeman won first place in the semifinals to advance to the finals, and they placed second overall in the finals. This was the second year of Bozeman competition and their Bozeman competition cheerleading team. Bay High completed in the Class 1A small non-tumbling division. In the Class 2A medium division, Mosley earned fourth place in the finals. The Dolphins are going to compete at the Universal Cheerleading Association High School Nationals. That'll be in Orlando on February 9th through the 12th. So starting tomorrow, going through the 12th, they will be over 100 teams competing in the division with Mosley. James, you got any on this day ready?
I do have some on this day
Let's
ready.
Hear it.
Let's see what we can come up with. Let's see. This day, let's start with the older one that I found kind of interesting. This day, 1889, workers dismantle the fences at the Polo Grounds to lay down a street, leaving the New York Giants nowhere to play baseball that season. Don't you think the city would have come ahead and be like, hey, guys, we're going to put a road through the outfield. Just be prepared.
Yeah.
just nobody. Just one day you show up to work and go, I don't remember a road in center field.
Yeah, I think that, that would create some challenges. But, I mean, shoot, back in those days, they had the bullpen back there as well, right? So
yeah,
the bullpen was on the
actually
field.
Actively on the field there.
Right.
I think that was the last stadium that did that. Let's see, 1936, the very first NFL draft takes place in, it was in Chicago.
Jay Burwanger, first overall pick?
That is correct.
Atta boy, Dave.
Let's see, 1945, Paul Brown agrees to coach the expansion team in Cleveland, later named the Browns.
The Browns.
Yeah, there we go. Quite creative, I think.
What if Washington and the football team would have done that instead of...
you really want to have the Schneiders?
The Schneiders.
Well, they're not the Schneiders anymore.
Yeah, now they would have had to change course.
Thankfully, let's just say, thankfully, we can move on past that now. All right, 1956, Connie Mack passes away at the age of 93. Of course, Connie Mack, the longtime owner, manager, player for the Philadelphia Athletics and later Kansas City Athletics. 1963, the Dallas Texans move to Kansas City and become Super Bowl winning champion Kansas City Chiefs.
There you go.
I like that one. Let's see. Roger Clemens becomes a big paid man this day in 1991, signs a record $5.3 million one-year contract with the Boston Red Sox. And on this day, 1996, the NFL and Cleveland tell Art Modell he can move the team to Baltimore, but has to leave the name behind.
Yeah, and it's worked out for him.
He did pretty well. He's won more Super Bowls there than he did in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Although it did motivate Cleveland to tear down the old memorial and build a new stadium. So there's some silver lining for Cleveland there. They got a brand new stadium out of the deal. They only had to lose their team.
And they got one of the most expensive quarterbacks in terms of guaranteed contract value that there is. So
nobody's going to touch that again.
I don't
think any other NFL owner or GM is ever going to put down at least in the next 10 years or so.
The only guy I could see that happening for is Patrick Mahomes, but I think that the Chiefs are really going to do their best to follow that Patriots that Patriots ideology of, hey, we can give you all the money in the world, but look at what's happening right now with the defense. We can't just do that without spending some money on the defense. It doesn't have to be high profile players, but we got to have depth. And did you enjoy having a good defense and it not having to all be on you? Because if the defense wasn't that good, those games against Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen could have proved to be a lot more difficult.
Having some weapons to throw to is nice. Ask him how he feels about losing Tyreek Hill. I mean, that was a huge loss. I mean, look how much Tua's stats went up after, Tyreek
Tua started looking like Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get that kind of talent out there. I mean, I could look like Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
not really, but, I mean,
I'd
look better than I, really would.
I know you're a big-time hockey guy, and we're not the biggest soccer followers. I was going to say fans, but we're fans of sports. It doesn't matter what it is. If we're keeping score, we're going to be into it. But we might not follow it as closely as some of the fans of Lindsey Horan. But high-profile trials of referees using a blue card. So basically, soccer is going to be implementing their own sin bin, if you will. So there's going to be a blue card, yellow card, red card. Now, I don't know what level they're going to be bringing this up to. This is from the Telegraph's Ben Rumsby, and it's going to be it's made up by the lawmaking body, the IFAB, which is the International Football Association Board, and it's going to be officially announced Friday, and they are going to give you a 10-minute penalty box. So you'll be in the penalty box for 10 minutes if you were to end up getting a blue card. If you get 2 blue cards, then you're kicked out of the game. If you get a blue card and a yellow card, then you're kicked out of the game. If you get a red card, you get kicked out of the game. So my question is, can we just go ahead and get rid of the red card and turn it into a green card? I mean,
this is something that I have had thoughts of. How do we fix soccer to make it more appealing to Americans? Because it's
add commercials.
Add commercials. That's one of the things you can do, is just add a lot more ads, distract us other ways. That way we don't have to pay attention to actually what's happening on the field. I mean, that works great at baseball, but there's lots of time between action in baseball. But it makes total sense to me to have a penalty where they send somebody off for just a set time period. You do it in hockey, you do it in lacrosse, and they're similar kind of sports-ish to soccer. So it just makes sense to me to have something like that. It falls more in line with North American sports, because I just mentioned lacrosse, North American, hockey, North American. So it's more appealing, more understanding to people in the United States. Now, I don't know if they're setting this rule in place to try to gain more of a market here in North America.
Yeah.
That I don't know, but it makes total sense, because that is one of the things that I have been saying for years, that they want to make soccer more appealing to Americans. You've got to make it more American.
There you go, but is trying to emulate hockey the right way to go about it?
No, not totally. But in terms of the penalty system, there's not a penalty system like that here.
Absolutely.
In any kind of a North American sport that we play. Soccer, is just not our sport. But if we can do that, it makes a difference.
What did hockey do? What did hockey do to try to gain popularity? They made the goalie pads smaller.
They made the goalie pads smaller.
They made the goals a little bit bigger.
They haven't changed the size of the goals.
Okay.
So they talked about it.
Okay.
And that was one of the things.
Goalie pads, but what was the whole entire point of that, though?
They wanted to increase scoring.
And it's worked, right?
It has not.
It hasn't worked?
No, it has not. Goaltending numbers, if you look at it.
Goaltending numbers, but what about average goals?
Average goals are falling back to where they were in the 90s. We're still not at the heyday of the 80s where goals were just being scored left and right, pop, 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 pop.
Okay.
It is still more goal scoring than the late 90s, early 2000s, where games were constantly ending 3-1, 2-1. So it has made a slight difference, but I will make the counter argument that now goalies are quicker. They're not as impaired by big, bulky pads. They actually got quicker. And I think the NHL wanted to create more scoring, but all they did was make better goaltenders.
Yeah, that's a good point. So looking at, I mean, it's pretty much stayed the same. It is up, though. It is up because, and I'm just going by goals scored here, but it's up to 3.1. Like, what I mean by that is from about 2003 to 2000 and let's say 17, you were right underneath, outside of one season, right underneath 3 goals. And and we're talking incremental changes. But all I was getting at, and I've gone way over here, and you're spot on, not trying to disagree, just maybe that's what soccer needs, is to make the goals just to where no goalie could stop it. Do what all the other sports, and let's just make it so offensively based that, that'll entice Americans to get into it.
That's one of the things that I want to get rid of is
Me too.
The offsides. I don't like offsides in soccer because it is not a set point to field like
But it makes
over and back in basketball, or a set point on a hockey field where you have the blue line.
That is something we'll have to try to get one of the soccer coaches on. To me, as I've learned the rule of offsides, it's like it makes so much sense, though. It does. Now,
It kills the
I wish
offense,
that there
though,
was
'cause it gives you no fast break.
I wish that there was. To some extent. To some extent. That one's a tough one, and we don't got time for it, but maybe we'll find some more time at 5 o'clock or something. You guys let me know. What's some rules that you would like to see changed in soccer that would make you watch it a little bit more, if you're not already? We have a pretty good soccer presence here in Northwest Florida. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next, we're going to be chatting with the owner of Golf Plus, Alan Watson.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 58.
A rocket to the right side, and the Chiefs strike first.
It's the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
Listen in a rich audio experience live from Las Vegas. Coverage begins at 1, kickoff 5:30 on your home for Super Bowl 58, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, partly sunny and a temperature of 64 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the south-southeast. A variety of slight fog and some clouds tonight and warm near 54. A mixture of slight fog and some clouds and 68 tomorrow. 69 and a variety of slight fog and mostly clouds Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
My name is Linda Cope, founder and president of Warrior Beach Retreat. Line the streets February 22nd to honor the men and women who have served and sacrificed for the freedoms we enjoy. Attend the ceremony, which is free and open to the public, February 22nd at 7 p.m. at First Baptist Church of Panama City. Colonel Alan West will be the speaker. Information for the parade route and ceremony are on our website, warriorbeachretreat.org. Never forget, freedom isn't free. We saw this firsthand after our son, Army retired Sergeant Joshua Cope, lost both legs above the knee and wounded his hands by an IED blast in Baghdad, Iraq. When a soldier goes to war, a family goes to war. We are a local 501c3 charity not affiliated with Wounded Warrior Project. Donations are needed and much appreciated for us to continue the vision to bring hope and healing for the combat wounded warriors and their loved ones. God bless you all, and God bless America.
For everything in the world of golf, it's the Watson Report. Thursdays at 4:20 with Alan Watson from Golf Plus. ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are back in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Drew Gorman and James Fife. This is ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Now we are joined by the owner of Golf Plus, Alan Watson. Alan, one of the most fun tournaments on the tour is here, the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Who's your favorite to win that?
Well, that's a really good question. This is such an interesting tournament every year. Definitely one of the fan favorites and kind of a sort of the wild child of the tour. Probably a predecessor to Live Golf, if anything, in terms of tournament style. But, I think Thigala had an early lead earlier today. I don't know where he is now, but he's definitely strong. And, Spieth's up there close to the top. You can't count out a guy that has that much experience. And you've also got Brian Harmon, the reigning Open champion. He's up near the top, too. So, I would definitely go with somebody in that, those guys, the guys that have the pedigrees, because this tournament can get a little raucous, and sometimes you can get a little distracted by the crowd. So, the younger guys were probably not going to be as used to that as the tour veterans.
Yeah, that's one of the most popular tournaments of the year that's not a major, especially it feels like this is when the season kind of really gets started. How much faith do you have with Scotty Scheffler? Do you think that he can get the job done, or is the putting will the putting be problematic for him?
Scheffler is a don't count me out kind of guy. He's just so consistent. I know he's had a little bit of trouble lately, but I really feel like he's going to have another big year like he had a couple of years ago. And I think just, if he can kind of get past the distractions of all this talk about, the money and the all the things that have been happening kind of behind the scenes with the tour and all that, I think that's distracting guys like Rory and Scotty and some of these other more popular players who get interviewed a lot about that kind of stuff. But he can just get to golf. He's very comfortable once he's on the golf course, and he's just a superstar. So I definitely expect big things from him.
Now, did you hear about Cristobal del Solar out of the hold on, I'm going to save that because I see Drew over here giving me a little side eye. Looks like he's working on his question, so I'm going to save that for him. I don't know if you heard about Lucas Glover though withdrawing last minute because he read his text messages wrong, so that's why he withdrew. He thought he was in a different group, and then the official texted him 1 minute before his tee time, and so he just had to take himself out of the tournament. Stinks for him. But what about Chambly, who was asked this week by a user on Twitter what he thinks his punishment would be for the LIV players who wanted to come back to or to play on PGA Tour events? He said they should have to sit out for a period of time, pay fines, and when they come back, support or play in only non-signature events for as long as they played for the LIV Tour. How do you feel about Chambly's solution?
Well, like everything he says, it's a little bit excessive and a little bit controversial. He's very strong-willed and very hard-spoken about this subject. Whatever they do, I say just, what's the pay a fine? What does that got to do?
Yeah.
The world? There have been guys for years that have sat out certain tournaments just because they didn't like them and things like that. And now we're supposed to punish a guy who walked away because he wanted the money. That poor guy, that's what these guys do. They play golf for money. So, I think what he said was just more to stir the pot than anything. I certainly don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they'll walk right back to the tour if they want to and just be welcomed with open arms. But I don't know how the tour can really structure a, quote, punishment, when they really were just doing what was in their own best interest. Sitting out a certain period of time, well, they've already been gone a certain period of time. So I don't know how long you want them to go without a paycheck. Again, that's what they do for a living. So that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I really wish that, do you think that anything could happen this year where we start seeing some of the LIV Tour guys being able to play in PGA events, or until all of this is kind of settled between the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour, we won't see any intermingling unless it's at majors and because they pass the requirements?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be majors this year. Stuff like this takes just as long as, it's all politics, right? So it takes just as long as regular politics does, which is forever. So my guess would be we're not going to see LIV and PGA guys back together again other than the majors until 2025, or at the very least until we get to the silly season over in the fall after the FedEx Cup has ended. I don't think the PGA Tour is going to want to punish guys who have played and been loyal all year long, who are maybe in the hunt for FedEx Cup points. If you get later in the year and all of a sudden you start letting the LIV guys back, and now they're getting points and they're taking spots in tournaments away from guys who've been loyal all year. I kind of see it more like hey, let's wait till the beginning of the next year to start over. I think that makes the most sense. But then again, what in the world? Nobody's ever checked my opinion on that except you guys, and I appreciate that. Hey, Drew, why don't you go out and get donuts or something, buddy? I'll talk to you later.
He's on his way because we've got 2 dozen in the old refrigerator in there, man. You pop them things in the microwave, and it's like the red light is on over there at Krispy Kreme. Pebble Beach. So I guess going into Monday or coming into Monday, it sounded like, the LIV had the better viewership. The LIV Tour had the better viewership from Sunday, and they had a great event. And but then it's coming out today, or maybe it was yesterday. Pebble Beach they were playing a rerun of the 3rd round, and they tripled the LIV viewers who were on the CW network. Is that a bad sign if the PGA Tour is, and again, it's on a more popular network on NBC, sure, but you're playing a rerun and people know that it's a rerun, or should at least, maybe they know that it's a rerun, and they're tripling the viewers on the CW. Is that bad for LIV? Is that growing pains, or is that just because of the network in which LIV is on?
Yeah, everything you just said is correct. I mean, it's the network that hurts. It's the fact that some guys were out playing golf on Saturday and doing other things, so now on Sunday they can watch the golf that they missed on Saturday, and it's still relevant. It's only 24 hours old, right? It's not like they were showing a replay of the Greenbrier Open from 1987. So, I mean, I think the network really hurts the LIV until they can forge a network deal with another partner and have maybe 2 networks where people have more chance to see it, or can get onto streaming. Maybe they could partner with somebody like Hulu or somebody I don't think Netflix would do it because they seem to have the tour, but either way, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I just think that something like that, having a streaming partner, would really help them. But the fact that the viewership is 3 times that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, you think about it, LIV is still only in its infancy. The PGA Tour has been around longer than all of us have been alive. So you have, look at the NFL's viewership against the XFL or whatever it's called. I mean, I'm sure it's 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, right? So if LIV's even in the ballpark, then I say that's okay considering how old they or how young they are in this case.
So,
buckle up.
Well, you already took the funny question. That's why I switched to Mr. Cristobal de Solor here. You took the funny one with Lucas Glover withdrawing last minute.
I did that after you kind of started giving me the side eye, like, hey, you're stepping on my territory.
Well, I had narrowed it down on the way here to one or the other, and then whenever I came in, that was question number 2 on the list. So I was like, okay, I can't go down that road. David's already Xing that one. But so for those that didn't hear it or haven't, I mean, it just came out like an hour ago. 30-year-old Cristobal de Solor from on the Corn Ferry Tour at Estrella Golf Championship in Bogota, Colombia.
Right.
He shot the lowest ever score in a PGA Tour sanctioned event, a 13 under 57 earlier today, which included 9 birdies and 2 eagles.
And no bogeys. No
bogeys. And he 2-putted on 18, missing a 6-footer, which would have given him a 56 on the day.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
You could give me unlimited mulligans, and I still couldn't come close to 57.
Yeah, I mean, there are 4-man scramble teams out there in charity events that, given 3 or 4 mulligans apiece and a piece of string, they couldn't shoot 57. So I think it's unbelievably impressive. I'll tell you, one thing that we've talked about in the years past is when you look at 59s that have happened on tour with Annika, with David Duval, with the guy with the weird swing, Jim Furyk. Every time you see a 59, there's almost always at least 1 bogey on the card. Sometimes there's 2 bogeys on the card, which makes the 59 even more impressive when they do 2 bogeys. The fact that like you mentioned here, he shot 57 with a clean card, no bogeys. That's what got him a little bit lower than everybody else who's ever done the amazing, impossible under 60 on tour. So by not having any bogeys, that was the big difference maker. And then, like you said, the final putt that could have been 56, which would have been insane. But 57 is impressive. You know, I don't care where you start from. Like you said, tee me up from the ladies' tees, I couldn't do that. Tee me up from the front edge of the fairway, and I couldn't do that. So, yeah, I think it's awesome. It's great for sport. It'll be a good story for a short period of time. I think it'll be a long, long time before you see something like that again. I mean, this is like having 2 or 3 hole-in-ones in the same round, right? I mean, the odds of this are just so astronomical. Obviously, it was a perfect storm. The golf course was set up for him, and he was playing great. It wasn't set up for him, like he didn't call the greenskeeper and say, put the pins where I want them. But, I mean, obviously everything was just dialed. So, man, I wish I'd have been there to watch that. I bet his caddy didn't say a word the whole day. I bet he just kept his mouth shut and handed him clubs.
Well, according to the article on ESPN.com that I had read, briefly skimmed through, apparently walking up on 18 to the tee box, he looks at his caddy and he was like, "Hey, where are we at?" And he goes, his caddy looks at him and says, "I don't know. Check out the scorecard."
Right.
Either he wasn't paying attention or he wasn't going to be the one to kind of jinx it and say, "Hey, look, this is where you are." But the cool thing that I read, that I saw about it, was he kind of took the Kobe road to it. He, after the fact, whenever he found out that he had shot a 57, people were asking him, like, "Hey, what are you going to do? You going to go out, have drinks, celebrate it?" And he goes, "No, it's the first day of the tournament. I've still got more work to do. Like, I got to buckle down and keep going."
And I want to piggyback off that real quick, Alan. When you shoot a 57, or you shoot, let's just say, you know, the best round that you've ever shot in your life, best score that you've ever shot in your life, does that make it harder the next day? Because I know just going off of a hole, I make a birdie or so, and like, okay, man, we're locked in, we're ready to go. And then on the next hole, I'm shooting an 8.
Yeah, so basically the way it works is whatever your handicap is, assuming you keep a legitimate handicap, you will shoot your handicap score, meaning if you're a 5 handicap, you're going to shoot 77 one time out of every 7 or 8 rounds. The rest of the time, you're going to shoot worse than that. That's just the way handicaps work. So that, just like the hole where you have a great hole, you know, I hate it when I birdie the very first hole of a round. It's very rare, but when I do it, I just think, well, it can only get worse from here. And so, you know, to answer your question about him and anybody who's ever shot just an amazing round, the reality is the odds are against you being able to go out and repeat anything even close to that the very next day. So hopefully he will have a very, steady kind of wit about him and say, you know what, even if I only shoot, let's say 300 or 400 tomorrow, it's okay because I went lights out yesterday, right? I mean, there's no way he repeats that score. There's no way he even comes close to it, most likely. Plus, the greenskeeper's going to be real mad. Superintendent put the pins over in the bunker. But that's just golf. If you play enough golf, you know that even if you're capable of shooting, let's say par, for instance, you're not going to shoot par every round. You're not even going to shoot par 3 out of 4 rounds. You're only going to do it 1 out of every 6, 7, or 8, something like that is what the odds tell us. So with that in mind, I don't think he'll be too worried with, trying to duplicate his success today. But he does want to win the tournament, believe me. They all do. He wants to keep playing good enough to win.
Absolutely, and we will see how that works out for him for the next 3 days. But, Alan, we are coming up on a close to this segment. Give me a product that you are loving at Golf Plus.
Just got in the new limited edition Palm Tree Crew driver from Cobra, the Dark Speed, but it's got palm trees on it. Really cool graphics. It's really sexy. And then Mizuno also has a limited edition white version of their STZ driver. So we got some limited editions in. I'm loving that. Just because they're cool and unique. Sometimes people, it doesn't matter how good you play. Sometimes you just want to look good. These are just really cool. I mean, they're going to work. They're great tools, but they look great too. And then one other little one that we just got back in stock is our Exponent rangefinder. It's a great little laser rangefinder at an incredible price. And it's just one of those deals where you're just getting so much bang for your buck. And so if you're looking for a rangefinder, we've got some at great prices in the store right now.
Alan, thank you so much for giving us some of your time, and we look forward to chatting with you next Thursday.
All right, thanks, man. Talk to y'all soon.
All right, that is Alan Watson. He is the owner of Golf Plus, one right here in your backyard at the shops at Edgewater, right next to Firefly, and one just north of us in Dothan, Alabama. Y'all, if you play golf, or if you're interested in playing golf, or if you've been playing golf and your scores are not that good, well, you probably need to get your clubs fit, and the place to go do that at is none other than Golf Plus, and they will take care of you. They will answer all of your questions, and you will be walking out of there satisfied. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to go to the hardwood floor next, talking some high school basketball, some Gulf Coast basketball with none other than Coach Rusty Cook.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, partly sunny and a temperature of 64 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the south-southeast. A variety of slight fog and some clouds tonight and warm near 54. A mixture of slight fog and some clouds and 68 tomorrow. 69 and a variety of slight fog and mostly clouds Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach want to help you make your dream kitchen a reality in 2024. Family owned and operated for over 20 years, they offer cabinets, countertops, flooring, and tile. Their cash and carry program offers shaker white cabinets available the very next day. Call Kitchen Designs to make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
He's so old, he buys his clothes at the same store he buys his groceries.
Are you wearing a grocery bag?
I talk sports in my underwear. I'm gonna wear nothing but a thong and a top hat.
Caveman Rick is part of the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And you are back with the Afternoon Underdogs. I will ask the question in this segment, and you guys can call in the next segment, 850-215-6290, and we will get you a prize from the prize closet, probably $25 to Nadi, but that boot store, and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, and we'll throw in a ESPN Northwest Florida t-shirt there along with it, or at least a t-shirt with that ESPN Northwest Florida logo on it. The question on February 6th, 2011, Tom Brady became the first player in NFL history to win the MVP award by unanimous vote. Who is the only other player to do so? So essentially, who is the only other player to win the MVP award in the NFL by a unanimous vote? Now welcoming on to the line with us, the assistant coach for the Gulf Coast Commodores men's basketball team, Coach Rusty Cook. Coach, how's it going this afternoon?
Man, it's a great day, man. Everything's going good. It's good to be on with you guys today.
Yes, sir. Great to have you. Can't wait to dive into some of these high school games, but we had a couple of games last night up there in Marianna. 2-point loss on the road last night to Chipola. Give us a quick recap of that game, Coach.
Slow start. And then Chipola's a very talented team. Just what we were doing in the beginning didn't seem to be working, so we switched it up, played a little zone defense, worked a little better, kind of got our offense going, and it was a battle, all the way down right to the end. We just we didn't make enough winning plays, in the end to win the game, and it's just something that all of our losses have been. We're in just every game that we play. We have just got to figure out a way to just make the winning plays at the right time. We had a costly turnover when we tied the game with about somewhere between about a minute and a half left while we were on a run. Those types of things are just run killers. There's things that can start your runs, and there's things that can kill your runs. And a live ball turnover that turns into a layup kind of kills it.
Yeah, Coach. And for the young basketball players out there, the young hoopers out there that might be listening, or let's say their dad's listening, and you answer this question, and he goes back and takes this interview to his son and shows him. But where do you fix that? Where do you end up winning those plays? For a lot of young athletes, they'll be like, oh, well, next game. Where should those solutions be found?
That's a great question, and maybe one day we dive deep into the psychology of mental toughness and what it takes. But when I say winning plays, it's not really about skill. All the skill is built when there's no eyes watching you, and then when the game starts, it's just a stage for you to perform what you've practiced and the habits that you've created. So that's going to be what it's going to be. Like, none of that is going to change once you step foot on the court. Who you are is who you are at that moment. But making winning plays is about your mentality and, just about doing the small fundamental things that it takes to win. Just that drive and that determination, just to do that little bit extra, just to box out a little harder on, last night we pulled a guy out and said, hey, man, you didn't box out. He said, Coach, that guy's a giant. I said, I understand that, but you just got to figure out a way, do your work early, hit him further away from the basket. Things like that is what I mean winning plays. It's not a three-point buzzer beater at the end of the game. You're either going to make it or miss it, but it's all just the little details of the game that, you've got to master. It's the fundamentals, and if you'll study Kobe Bryant at all, he talks about that kind of stuff all the time. And that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, and you shared a video on Facebook earlier today of a young lady giving a little speech to some other basketball players, and just kind of talking about, when you miss a layup, there's nothing wrong with missing a layup. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Where it becomes where the separation. Let me not even say where it's wrong. Where the separation happens is, do you think that was funny, or is there or are we going to figure out how to correct the mistakes that we made? And I'm sure that is is that even something that's teachable, or is that just something that is within the warrior already?
I think again, we might have to do a long segment on this one day about a winning mentality.
Yeah, sounds like a book.
Yeah. I mean, and the reference I have the most is coaching high school basketball, and I get to start with these 12, 13-year-old young men and start building that, and then start challenging them. Like, your resolve and your mentality doesn't get built unless it gets exercised. So I have to bring you in a practice, and I have to stress that. I have to make it hard on you, and then you begin to grow in those areas. But sometimes in what I've found in college is, you get these kids for especially JUCO, you get them for a very short amount of time. And so where did they come from? Let's be honest, there's winning programs and there's basketball programs. Okay, so did they come from a winning program? Did they come from a culture that they were really pushed really hard? Or, let's be honest, there's situations where they're just the best player and they get to do what they want, when they want, how they want. So it's tough, but all you can do is just keep grinding every day and try to build that winning mentality.
I am really looking forward to that segment. We can dive a little bit deeper into the mentality, into the mindset of just being a winner there, Coach. But Bay at South Walton tonight in a little playoff high school basketball. South Walton swept Bay 3-0 in the regular season. How do they avoid losing 4 straight tonight?
South Walton is going to be a tough game because they are very consistent. They're not a team that's, really up and down. You know what you're going to get from them, but they're going to run their offense and they're going to play, their defense really well. It's going to be very consistent. So, Bay is going to have to, not turn the ball over and shoot it pretty well tonight, probably to end up winning this game. South Walton at home is tough. Even when I played there with really good teams, it's always a battle. I think South Walton, for some reason, they play so well in their gym. And I can't even think of another team that I can really say that about with confidence. But South Walton plays so well in their gym, and Coach Martin does a good job. But I think Bay High has a chance. I really do. They have some size that South Walton doesn't have. I think it's going to be if the guards can take care of the ball and they can shoot a pretty good percentage in that gym tonight, they got a chance.
And we've also got Graceville going on the road to at Bozeman here. What are your thoughts, and who do you see coming out on top?
Bozeman has been the top dog in that district all year. I think I said earlier in the year that I think Bozeman did a really good job at being ahead in preparedness at the beginning of the season. But some of those smaller schools that have football players, they're usually better at the end of the season. I would say that in this game, Bozeman's going to be the favorite. But, some of those, Graceville could be sneaky because they're an athletic team. And sometimes athleticism can make up for a lot of things. But I think Bozeman does come out on top, but it probably doesn't get any easier for them after that.
Oh man, that is going to be very interesting to watch all of these teams on their playoff runs here. But Mosley's got a big one tonight against Buchholz, traveling down there to Gainesville, and Buchholz showed a early exit to the Mosley Dolphins in football. Raiden Bruins was a part of that football team. Do you think he's got a little extra motivation this evening?
To be honest with you, it's going to be a tall task. Buchholz is a really good basketball team. They're the number one in that district for a reason. They have to travel to Gainesville. And another note, these high school kids, they're not used to traveling long distances.
Yeah.
And it does have an effect. I remember a couple of years ago, I had to travel to Jacksonville to play a playoff game, won the game, drove back to Panama City. 2 days later, I had to drive back to Jacksonville. And it's just not something the kids are used to. It takes a toll. So, Mosley's got a tall task at hand. They're just going to – they're trying to play spoiler tonight. Definitely the underdogs. But the great thing about that is you can just go out and play loose. A lot of people may not expect you to win, but that's a great recipe, for an upset.
All right, and then the final team with a game this evening in our area, Rutherford taking on Gadsden County tonight. What do you think we'll see from that game?
I'm going to try to get out there to that game. I think this is going to be a really good game tonight. I think these teams are evenly matched in a way. They are two really athletic teams that's going to try to get up and down the floor. I think Rutherford has an advantage when it comes to that, as far as playing a fast-paced game. They have a lot of guards who can handle. I think if Rutherford, they're a small team, so in all of their games, they have to shoot it pretty well. They don't get a lot of baskets, at the bucket. But if they can shoot it well, I think Rutherford's the favorite tonight. And I feel like they're going to come out on top.
Coach, thank you for your answers on high school basketball there. And now we've got another important question for you. Who ends up winning the Super Bowl? Who you got, Chiefs, 49ers?
I'm not neither one of those are my teams, but I'm going to have to go. It's funny to say. I'm going to go with the underdog. I think the Chiefs, if I had to pick, I think the Chiefs are going to come out. But I think this is going to be a good game. I really do. I predict a good close game in this one. looking forward to watching it.
It is so weird, like hearing the term underdog and Patrick Mahomes being used in the same sentence. Oh my goodness, Coach! Thank you so much for your time, and we will chat with you next week. And good luck to y'all on the floor as well.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. That is Coach Rusty Cook. He's the assistant men's coach over there for the Gulf Coast Commodores and does a great job of knows all things basketball and keeps up with what's going on here in the county very closely. And I appreciate him coming on and spending a little bit of time with us. We're going to get into hour number 2, and we're going to talk about what people are going to be doing for the Super Bowl. We're going to ask some questions that ESPN and another pollster asked to people, and we'll go into some of those numbers and ask the questions to ourselves. And you guys feel free to text in your answers, and we will read them out as well. This is the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. Hour number 2 is up next.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, anyplace, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN Northwest Florida app streams your favorite sports talk hosts and the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity.
This is of utmost importance in travel.
Take the sports talk monster with you anywhere you go. Available for Android and iPhone.
Use it anywhere or any place.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, partly sunny and a temperature of 64 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the south-southeast. A variety of slight fog and some clouds tonight and warm near 54. A mixture of slight fog and some clouds and 68 tomorrow. 69 and a variety of slight fog and mostly clouds Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Go home for Super Bowl 58. WGSX WPLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
We don't sell the steak.
You can stir this all up.
We sell the sizzle. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Very spicy.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on? It is hour number 2. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and you can text in your answers for the Super Bowl poll that we're about to get into. I'm going to ask some of the guys, or ask us some of the questions. We'll go over some of the results. This was ESPN working with market researchers at Smith Geiger Group to poll fans during the final week of the 2023 regular season of the NFL, just to find out how Americans will be celebrating the Super Bowl. 2,049 Americans responding to this survey. 74% of them said that they plan to watch at least part of the game. 48% were male, 52% female. Of those surveyed, 37% listed their age between 18 through 34. Age groups 35 through 49 and 50 through 64, both represented by 31% of respondents. Cowboys at 8%, Chiefs at 5%, Steelers at 5%, 5%, Eagles at 4%, Giants at 4%, had the largest percentages of supporters polled, though. So not surprising at all that the Dallas Cowboys lead the way there, because they have to watch the Super Bowl because that's they're still holding on. They're still holding on to the 90s. Maybe we'll get those Dallas Cowboys back to the Super Bowl in the future, just for the
Steelers and Giants being up that high, that's interesting.
Yeah, very popular squads, though. It doesn't surprise me about the Eagles. And where are the San Francisco 49ers here? But 6% of respondents said that they were rooting for the Chiefs to win it all, and 4% for the Niners. How does that even make any sense? Oh, I guess at the time. So this was during the regular season, so 6% at the point in time we're saying the Chiefs, which is maybe even a high number for the way that the Chiefs were playing football, and a lot of people were not believing in them anymore, and 4% for the 49ers. So where do you plan on watching this year's Super Bowl? James, we'll start with you.
I am going to be at my parents' house at Deer Point Lake, watching the lake roll by, watching the Super Bowl at the same time. Going to throw some ribs and a brisket on in the morning and just enjoy the day. Don't try to call me later. I'll just be too inebriated to answer the phone. But it'll be a good day. I will take notes on commercials, because that's one of my favorite aspects of the game is the commercials.
Profits.
I always like to just keep up with funny, not funny, or I've seen it before. And that drives me nuts. If I have seen a commercial before and then you show it to me on the Super Bowl, no, you are spending too much money not to put out a new product.
What if you get half price? Like, if you've already played that commercial, it's half price.
No, they're still going to charge you full price, man. It's the Super Bowl.
About $7 million.
Still the Super Bowl, man. They are still going to be like, nope, pay up. I'm going to look up how much it is for 30 seconds now.
All right.
Go ahead, Dr. Drew.
Drew, where do you plan on watching this year's Super Bowl?
As of right now, it's TBD.
Same.
It's here recently, since I moved here, I've been going over to my in-laws' house. They've had a few of their friends over who know nothing about sports, but I sit there and watch the game the whole time while they stand around and talk.
It's hard to pay attention.
And I'm in the minority. I love listening to commentators, no matter who it is, because they tell me the backstory of things, and it pays well whenever I get into situations like this where I can go, oh, did you know about so-and-so? Because he did this in 1942. Or
there you
whatever.
go. A lot of these guys were doing things like that in 1942.
Yeah, of course. But and then I also got an invite to a friend's house, Chris Roberts. So I got an invite to his place for a Super Bowl party. So I haven't. I know my wife probably wants to go over to her parents, but I don't know. We're gonna find out. But I'm pretty sure for the survey reasons why it's at a party.
There you go. I'm kind of in that same boat. TBD. Don't know. All I know is who I'll be watching it with. My buddy Terry Ross and my brother. And then wherever we find ourselves, that's where we'll end up watching the game. 51% of people are going to be watching it at home alone or with immediate family. 21% of people polled at home, hosting a party or a get-together. At a friend or family member's house was also 21%. At a bar or a restaurant at 6%. And somewhere else was 1%. Do y'all know where I was watching the Super Bowl between Justin Timberlake, or when Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson were doing the halftime performance, which I watched most of the Super Bowls growing up at church. And normally they would turn off and I wasn't even paying attention to the TV when this happened or whatever, but I remember being in the room, and normally they would turn the TV off during the halftime performance.
And
that
the one
stuff.
that they left it on?
Yeah, it's like, hey, turn that off. So, but yeah, interesting though, just thought of that. What part of the Super Bowl experience are you most excited about? 43% of people say the football game, 22% of people say the commercials, 19% say the halftime show, and 16% of people say the food. What part for you are you the most excited about?
With this matchup, it's got to be the football game in my mind.
Have you ever been more excited about the halftime show or anything other than the game?
No.
I think if anyone, what was it, last year or whenever Eminem, but even then, like, it was like, okay, that's cool, but I still, like, it's not getting me up for the halftime show. I don't care who the halftime performer is.
If it was a Super Bowl between two teams that I didn't like a few years ago, whenever it was the 28-3, the Falcons Patriots.
Yeah.
Yes, I was watching for the game, but I was literally sitting back going, I'm watching with a couple buddies that are Falcons fans and a couple buddies that were Patriots fans. I'm literally sitting back going, why don't they both lose?
Yeah, why not?
Let's end in a tie. Let's do it, baby.
Let's just turn the lights off.
What about for you, James? Football game, commercials, halftime show, or the food?
I mean, I always love the game, but I'm there also for the food and the commercials because the commercials are just such Americana. You know, everybody's going to be talking about them just as much as they're going to be talking about Taylor Swift. And then after that, we're going to actually be talking about football. So, I mean, we got to get the priorities straight there, you know? So, yeah, that's where I'm going to be looking for it, though. And I'm also always interested in the production and production qualities that each of the different networks put out.
Yeah,
there you go.
I like that as well because it like you see it takes an uptick at the during the Super Bowl because they know they're such a big spectacle. They've got to introduce something different, like a score ticker, just different things. And I love seeing what new stuff that they've been able to come out with.
There you go. So how do we feel about Usher playing halftime? 27% of people say, I hope he brings out guests. 24% of people said, it's going to be amazing. 22% of people said, I wish it was someone else. 18% of people, I just want him to perform. Yeah. 12% of people said, I don't know any Usher songs. And 15% of people said none of the above. I'll be part of the 15%. Like I could care less. Like I don't know if I'll watch it or not. It just depends on where I'm at during halftime.
I'm going to be watching it because I love watching the whole spectacle that we know as
you like
the
watching
Super Bowl. You know, but Usher's not. I mean, Usher's fine. You know, great guy that has, you know, done all of his music career. He's probably more towards the end of his career now. I think we can all agree on that.
And most Super Bowl artists are.
So we know what he's going to bring. We know kind of what songs he's going to do. So, I mean, it's not really my style of music. I'm more of like the old rock and roll style, and we're never going to see that again. The Rolling Stones did it once years ago, and they don't need to do it again. That was boring as well. They always need to try to find, though, somebody that knows how to put on a big stage performance, because that's what I was thinking was really missing last year with Rihanna, is she had this huge area to work with, and she's between the 240s the whole time.
Yeah, I don't even remember watching that. I thought
that's
last
how
year
good it was. You don't even remember it.
Yeah, there we go. You know, I did actually watch, who was it, Jennifer Lopez and Shakira a couple years ago. I think I watched like a few seconds of that.
I was excited for that one. Bring me Shakira. I don't care. J-Lo, I mean, I like J-Lo and all. She's cute and whatnot. But Shakira, yeah, you're taking me back to high school now.
And moving on. I love Usher. Yeah, I've always been a big Usher guy. He's actually been coming out with new stuff. He actually has
got an album coming out.
Album came out in 2023. He's got a new one coming out in 2024. So, like, guy's still putting out music. But as James eloquently put, like, if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But it's figuring out what fits the masses, and I love Usher. I'm still singing Usher songs, "Moving Mountains," "Confessions Part 2." Like, I dig it.
Oh yeah, so I'm not talking about the music. Just I
think he's going to be great because old boy can still sing, and
they're not singing anyways.
Smooth R&B, baby.
They ain't singing anyways.
Old school R&B, and at this point, I'm excited.
There you go, man. I am excited that you are excited. What would you say is your go-to main course? Chicken wings comes in at 32%. Pizza, 25%. Nachos at 11%. Burgers and sliders come in at 10%. Barbecue, 7%. Chili at 5%. And sandwiches, 5%. Others, 5%. So what would be your go-to?
Oh, we do a lot of sandwiches. We do a lot of dips and barbecue, mostly because I like making barbecue. So that's a big one for me. It's just sitting there all day with the Q machine.
If I was at a church party like I used to be, just kind of like you, it was definitely pizza because it was so easy. All you had to do is buy 20 pizzas, have at it. But now that I'm an adult and I can make my own decisions, chicken wings. I love wings.
For me, I think, chicken wings and pizza go together hand in hand.
And beer.
Beer, yeah, definitely.
And Buffalo Rock.
That one's not a part of the old repertoire for me anymore, but I'll have a nice a glass of water. Yeah, I mean, maybe, a little soda to go along with that is fine. I'm going to go with, for out of all of these, like, I would love to have, James, you're having barbecue, right?
Doing the queue.
Yeah, man, so I might be heading out there, but I'll go with chicken wings. If I had to pick one, it would be chicken wings.
How hot do you guys do your wings? Because, I mean, I love chicken wings, but I'm real particular because I have a chicken allergy that's weird, but I love, like, hot, spicy
We're not about
wings.
to just skip over
You
someone
live
who
on a
just
farm
said chicken allergy.
and you have a chicken allergy?
I do.
And it's a weird, you didn't just say chicken allergy, you said a weird chicken allergy.
Explain.
Okay, so it's not actually the chicken that bothers me. So about 10, 11 years ago, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Oh.
So half of my face stopped working. A few days later, face starts working again. A couple weeks later, the other side of my face.
Is it
That's
like Bell's palsy?
Yeah,
my
so
cousin
it was
had
Bell's
that.
palsy, and it went bilateral in my face. So after I had it the second time, surprisingly enough, I didn't go the first time to a doctor. Like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm having a stroke or something. I'm
If
fine.
it was my whole face, I get it, but half of it,
Yeah,
come
I
on.
can still eat on the other half.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this situation.
Life moves on.
So then I get into, I'm doing clindamycin IV drip, 31 days straight, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, every single day. Can't miss it. And apparently something in that antibiotics just totally crushed whatever is in my gut. And now any chickens that have been fed antibiotics, can't do it, man. I will be in the bathroom 4 hours later, and you will not see me again for another 4.
Huh.
Pain.
Interessante.
And depending on the side of your
God.
face, you don't even know if you could see yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I can't do anything. I got half working. Oh, yeah, so... Yeah, just kind of particular on chicken about that. But
so
if
that's
I grow
another.
my own chicken,
I was
I'm
about to
fine.
say.
Yeah, if I grow out and we got a rooster out in the backyard, then I'm gonna, how do I say this nightly? Dispatch.
Yeah, dispatch. I like that.
I'm gonna go out and dispatch him, and I can eat that guy because I've been raising him his whole life. I've fed him everything that he's been eating, so I know he hasn't had any antibiotics.
Hey, there's not a bond quite like that.
Hello, Mr. Chicken. Your services are no longer needed. Well, maybe they are for a little
It's
bit.
still needed. Your services are needed right now. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
We'll catch you later.
exactly. Do you ever name them like cutlets, patties, tenders?
My last 2 cows, I had 2, not the last cows, but I had some Holsteins, so the black and white cows. One of them had a white streak down his face. One of them had a white circle on his head, so I had bacon and sausage.
There we go.
Oh, my God.
I love that, man. We need to have a field trip at your house.
Let's go. We'll just do a live show from there one day.
Dude, could we do that?
I will take
not
off
gonna stop you.
Thursday. I will
know.
take off Thursday to be there.
James, I think, because I
Let's
know
do
you're
it.
not with us the 15th, but I mean,
Yeah, not next Thursday. Thursday
Yeah.
after, I'll be back.
all right, we're going to have to figure this out, man, because that would be really cool just to, and we can get some of the GOATs to talk with us. Why
we can
have
go
Michael
there.
Jordan or LeBron James when we could talk to the actual GOAT?
I can get you, and we can bring in a donkey. They love to yell at you.
All right.
We already got enough asses here. It's me.
What is your go-to Super Bowl dip? I'm not going to read out all the percentages. The leaders: cheese or queso at 25%, buffalo chicken at 18%, salsa, guacamole at 12 and 11%, and then ranch at 9%. Of those, I'm going to go with buffalo chicken far and away for me.
My wife makes her own buffalo chicken dip. Gotta have it.
My mom makes this thing called a Captain Rodney's. It's basically melted cheese and bacon with a sweet sauce on top of it.
Ooh.
Love it. Serve it nice and piping hot, like burn your mouth hot. Oh.
And you said you're not going to be here next Thursday, so I can't have any leftovers?
No, not going to be here Thursday. I might show up Monday.
There we go.
We'll see what happens.
I'll come by Monday as well.
Hey, there you go. All right, your beverage of choice for serving or drinking during the Super Bowl, 37% comes in leading with soda, 33% at beer, 9% at water, 7% wine, 7% hard seltzer, and 7% other. I'm going to go with the 7% there of other. Last year it was 100%. It really wasn't even on this list either. It would have been a little bit harder, but things have changed. And so for me, it'll be water or another type of like soda or something like that. Or coffee, more than likely coffee. I drink a lot of coffee still, so got to work on that.
Oh, careful, man. Stuff's bad for you. Careful.
I think I could deal with that one. At least I make more sound decisions.
For me, it's beer. I'll mix in the waters here and there, but just so because why is the Super Bowl on a Sunday? Why can't we have a Saturday?
That's yet to be asked here, yeah.
But I need to still be coherent for work in the morning, so I will mix my waters in between the beers.
I think they do the thing that we could be glad about, even though it's on Sunday, at least it's at 5 o'clock, right? Or 5:30.
Yeah, they've moved it up in the day.
Yeah.
You know, they used to kick off at like 7:30 or something like that. And then when you have because this halftime show is 45 minutes, something really long compared to a regular, half time, and then the games were going until like 11 o'clock at night, and people were like, man, I am way too drunk and I have to work in the morning.
Yeah. We'll move on to what do you plan to bet on this year's Super Bowl? We could just go yes or no.
No.
I'm probably not going to.
Yeah, less than $50 is 33% of people. 50 to 100 is 32% of people. More than 100, 27% of people. And I'll bet something other than money, 8%. I'll put myself in the 8%. I don't mind betting, like doing a little push-ups, or I'll wear your team's jersey, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could probably bet someone at the party, but I don't know many 49er or Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
That are local, at least.
All right, now we got to get to the most important question of them all. How did you feel about Taylor Swift becoming a presence at NFL games this season?
I'm indifferent. I was talking about this with my father-in-law because he was asking about how it was affecting football. Because on one hand, it's great. I agree. It's great for football because it's bringing more eyes to the NFL. It's bringing money to the NFL, bringing money to the Chiefs. So I think it's great. But then on the other hand, every time Travis Kelce does something, oh, let's pan to a shot of Taylor Swift. Like, why do I have to see her 45 times in a game that all she's doing is cheering or looking sad? Like, I don't understand it. So I guess a little bit of if they showed her less on the broadcast, I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'm down for it. But
less is more.
Less is more, exactly. So it's like you got to leave the people wanting.
James?
I don't care.
There we go.
I mean, she's a fan of the NFL now, and that's great because the NFL can always use more fans, always bring more money in, and it's bringing in, I don't know if I really want to say other fans or new fans, but it is bringing in eyeballs for right now.
Yes.
And you know what eyeballs are? Eyeballs are money.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Like, I really didn't care, but I do think that it's cool that like, there is those eyeballs that maybe 1 out of every 250 of them end up becoming a lifelong NFL fan, and who knows where that goes from there. So, to get it into that demographic that's a little bit harder to get it out to, I think is really cool in that way. 54% of people say I don't care either way. 23% say it was great. 14% say it was terrible, and 9% say they didn't know she was going to games. And then when do you think the game should be played? We don't have time for that because we're going to go to a break. 37% of people say leave it as it is. 30% say on Saturday. 19% say on Sunday but kick it off earlier. And then 14% say Sunday but make the next day a national holiday. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Keep it locked in because we've got a Hall of Famer on the line up next. Coach Scoville.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 58.
A rocket to the right side, and the Chiefs strike first.
It's the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
Listen in a rich audio experience live from Las Vegas. Coverage begins at 1, kickoff 5:30 on your home for Super Bowl 58, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Thursday. A variety of slight fog and some clouds tonight with a light breeze out of the southeast around 6 miles per hour, and for the low be 54. Tomorrow morning, there will be slight fog and some clouds with the temperature reaching 66. Slightly foggy in the afternoon and evening with a high of 68. This weather is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290.
I'm sure that most of you have used a dial telephone before.
The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 right here in Panama City. Our next guest on April 27th will be a Hall of Famer, already a Hall of Famer, but will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. She spent 22 seasons over there at Gulf Coast State College, a record of 646 wins, 91 losses, six-time champion in 2003, 2008, 2010, 2016, 17, and 19. Six-time NJCAA Coach of the Year. Coach Mary Rooney Scoville on the line with us. Coach, how's it going this afternoon?
Oh, it's fantastic. How are you?
We are doing wonderful. Got a little flag football here later on, but the induction ceremony for the 2024 Hall of Fame class is going to be April 27th at the Tennessee Theater in Knoxville, Tennessee. What does this honor mean to you, Coach?
Oh, it's amazing. It kind of, even though I knew like November 30th, as it kind of, I still continue to kind of be speechless about it, and just it's such a reflection of a lot of things. Probably family would be the best thing, whether it's personal family, the Gulf Coast family, the JUCO family. It just represents a lot of success by a lot of people that were part of one of those families.
I love that, Coach. And of all the accolades, what would you consider to be your greatest achievement?
Ooh, I just think hopefully having an influence on the lives of some young women that, at the time maybe had to battle some things, to move on to D1 basketball, and for them to graduate and from Gulf Coast and then go on, and many of those have their 4-year degrees, and they've gone on to be professionals, whether it was in basketball or professionals of some other sort. For me, that's the biggest achievement, is helping some girls to graduate and move on to bigger things.
And you accomplished the goals that you set out as a second grader pretty early on. You wanted to teach, you wanted to coach, and you wanted to live at the beach. And when you reached you reached those quite early, what drove you to keep going?
Well, when you, I guess people say you're kind of addicted to the sport. Basketball was just our thing. Addicted to people, love being around people, love trying to help some young ladies to, like you say, achieve great things and hopefully have an influence on them. So, that part was easy, especially when you're winning. It makes it a lot more fun. It makes it a lot easier to come back for another year when we've had as much success as we were fortunate to have.
Yeah, and as a player, you played for the Gators from 80 to 84. You shot 89.3% from the charity stripe. And being a team captain in your final season and from the 83 to 84 season, did that come as a surprise, or was that something you knew was coming? And tell us a little bit about that.
You just surprised to play? Or surprised? I'm sorry, I kind of missed the question.
Being elected as a team captain.
Yeah, I don't know. That probably is a surprise because you're just not sure. But definitely a learning experience, and hopefully it helped me into the coaching world. But definitely probably by surprise. Yeah. That's an honor to be a captain of your team.
Is there a season that stands out to you, Coach Scoville, more than any other, as far maybe one of the championship seasons, or just any season that stands out above the others of your time there at Gulf Coast?
Well, I think about that a lot because people ask that question. What did any championship, like you say, have more effect than the other? Well, the first one, obviously, that's a big one. That's your first one, and those girls went undefeated. So that's a feat that's really hard to do. But they're all, every one of them had their own unique personality. Each team had their unique personality. They had different things that they had to overcome and to fight through to win those championships. Probably if you look at the one that, you say, man, there was a lot of, it might be a 30 for 30 story, honestly, because, we had the tragic death of our player early in September that year. 3 weeks later, a storm is so big that it made her death seem like it was in the distant past, in our community, to be so devastated. And then for those girls to be, they were away from campus for a month. We were practicing, traveling 3 hours a day over into Okaloosa County and Walton County at high school gyms during the school day, and those kids, what they did, and eating bagged lunches when we did get back on campus. And then the hour and a half just to go for a 3-mile trip from the beach to over the bridge to get to school to the campus. So what those young ladies went through, and then to win the conference and to win the region, and then to go out to Lubbock, Texas, after all of that occurred, and go win a national title and play 4 games in 75 hours to come home with a national championship. That one probably, and it was the last one, so maybe it stands out a little more. But that was a lot of challenges that a bunch of young ladies bought into and never gave up, and brought that championship home to this community that really needed something to have some hope, provide some hope at that time.
So I'm going to ask you to pick from all of your kids here, your favorite, pick a favorite from all your kids. Among your 6-time championship teams in 03, 08, 10, 16, 17, 19, which one of those teams do you think would beat, if they were comprised in a tournament, which team would come out on top?
In a Division I tournament?
No, just like a tournament.
The 6 teams, which one would win out of the whole 16?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, boy, that's a tough question. That's a really tough question. I think the first one was very, very talented. The 2003 team was very, very talented, and they just, like I say, they went undefeated. They just refused to lose. They had that ability to win even when they didn't play well. I would say either 2003 or 2016.
All right. Coach, how tough is it to go back-to-back?
That was extremely tough. And if we didn't have an injury to one, and I could even go further and say if we didn't have one girl that was averaging 20 in 2018 and Shayla Bennett didn't get a concussion in the first 5 minutes of the semifinal game, we might have gone 4 back-to-back. So there was a chance if that didn't happen. So back-to-back was hard, but we almost pulled off 4 back-to-back.
Goodness gracious. In recruiting, which you were great at and known for, what did you look for in a player, and when you saw it, how did you know that they were going to be a good fit?
Well, we always loved athleticism, run fast, jump high. And, we can all see a great shooter and a great scorer. Everybody's got that ability, but sometimes you have to kind of find the one that's going to fit the piece and fit the role. So for us, it was always going to pretty much be athleticism, good, fast, run like a deer, be able to run faster and jump higher because that's the way we wanted to play and run the ball up the court and play a fast break style. So for us, recruiting was all about getting the best athletes that we could. And if you could get a great athlete that had great skill, well, you probably had an All-American.
So what are some of the things that whenever you're watching today's game, what are some of the things that stick out to the most to you that have changed since the time that you were out playing?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know, you have to, because of this NIL and all this stuff, it's, you know, managing a team. I think there's more managing of teams along with coaching. So I'm glad I don't have to do that. You know, the talent is very, very good. But when you talk about all this travel ball and all this transfer portal, and it's got, you know, I haven't had to really do it. So it's got to be pretty challenging for that constant, you know, people leaving and going to the next school. And that was hard to answer. You know, the players are very, very talented. And look at the sold out venues now in the women's game. It's so popular, and I don't know. I have a hard time answering that question. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's a great answer, and to see the growth of the ladies' game, especially in the tournament, and the fact that it's not, you know, the men's tournament then the girls' tournament anymore. I think people more and more are starting to see in the women's game just how good of a game it is and how good these athletes are. And then Caitlin Clark obviously helps out a lot there, but just in the fact of what we're seeing out of the tournament is a lot of fun, and we're getting a little bit closer to those being on the same the same level as far as the financial, not the financial gain, but the ESPN treating them the same, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, there's a lot more, right. You're seeing a lot of, you know, when a women's team plays in front of 55,000 in, you know, Iowa's football stadium, and you're seeing a lot of sold-out games. That just didn't happen in the past. So women's basketball is really taken off in the popularity and a lot of parity and some personalities that are, like you say, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and some other personalities that are really drawing people to watch these games. But, you know, great for women's basketball. You know, what a great time to and women's volleyball, too. You know, we're talking about basketball tonight, but women's sports are really, really becoming an attractive, you know, sport to watch.
Going back to your recruiting eye here for a second, two of the players that you just named, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, if you were building a team, which one would you go after first?
Both of them.
Well, Caitlin Clark, the ability to score, that you don't get that very often in the game, you know. So her ability to shoot and do such a long range, so. Definitely Clayton Clark. But if I had two picks, you know, I'd certainly love how hard Angel Reese plays. She plays so hard, and they both have brought a lot of attention to the women's game here in the last couple of years. So, you know, good for them. But I would have to go. I'm gonna go with a scorer. We love scorers.
There you go.
Scorers.
And I think we love it as fans as well. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with Coach Mary Rooney Scoville. Coach, we'll let you go after this question. What is your favorite sporting event or memory that you've created after your retirement or during your retirement?
Oh, after my best sporting.
Just something that you've been to, because I was reading in the News Herald in an article when you were retiring, when you were announcing your retirement, that those were some of the things that you wanted to do, like go check out the U.S. Open. So I didn't know if there was maybe an event that you've been to that maybe stands out more than some of the others.
No, I can't think of one. Probably the one thing is, and it's not even sports, is my nephew is a stand-up comedian, and I finally got to go watch him live do his gig comedy. So that was a lot of years coming for me to finally get to go watch him do his stand-up. So that's probably been my most enjoyable thing since I've retired, is to go watch a family member, you know, do his craft. So that was a great night for me.
That is awesome, Coach. Give him a shameless plug right here, and then maybe some of the listeners will go, I know I will. I'll go check out his stand-up. Does he have a YouTube or anything?
He's got a lot of things going on. His name is Rory Scoville, and he's getting ready to have, a big thing on HBO here this month, at the end of the month. So, yeah, his comedy's a little colorful, so you may not want to just go run out there.
All right, well, we'll check it out. We'll check it out with an open mind. Coach, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Thank you for all that you've done for this area, for sports in general, and for people in general. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, bye-bye. Now, that is Coach Scoville, Coach Mary Rooney Scoville, as many of you know are around here. Coach Rooney, just awesome what she was able to do, not just there at Florida. I didn't know until doing a little research about her playing time there at Florida, to lead the way as a freshman, 89.3 from the stripe there. Also was like top 5 the next year in the land in free throws and assists to go along with that. Just an amazing set of accomplishments. And when we talk about this Hall of Fame stuff, this isn't, and I don't mean this in a negative way. Like, this isn't just, you know, a Bay County Hall of Fame or a JUCO basketball or a junior college basketball Hall of Fame. This is the Hall of Fame of basketball. This is the Hall of Fame of basketball, and this is, I mean, very impressive stuff, and the man, just really cool that she would give us some of her time as well.
And I love her answers. It was more about the team and more about other people rather than, it was more about the community rather than, oh yeah, I did this and I found this person and this is how I found them. It was the team did this and we did this. And even whenever you were asking her that last question about favorite sporting event, she was like, it's not sports, but I loved watching my nephew. Mm-hmm. It was totally just like, it just reminded me in the moment that they're people too. They're At the end of the day, she's this legendary coach, but she's still a person at heart.
Yeah, man, and being able to go cheer on her Rory Scoville nephew there with the comedy, that had to have been really cool for her, and I'm sure that it was really cool for him too to be able to see her out there in the crowd. But guys, that is going to do it for us this afternoon. We're going to have a segment coming up next that was pre-recorded from the Inside Drive today with Lauren Gill. She is with the Humane Society, and this is pretty important stuff. So make sure you're tuned in, and if you feel compelled to help at all, then she'll give you a number to call during that segment. Coach James Hill Show is going to be live at 7. Inside Drive back tomorrow at 11. We'll be back tomorrow at 4. Just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I. Y'all have a great evening.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer, college basketball is back.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
The SEC, ACC, and beyond.
Oh, you saw that coming, Radford.
The biggest games play right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Thursday. A variety of slight fog and some clouds tonight with a light breeze out of the southeast around 6 miles per hour, and for the low be 54. Tomorrow morning, there will be slight fog and some clouds with the temperature reaching 66. Slightly foggy in the afternoon and evening with a high of 68. This weather is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know